Hey everyone, John and Dan coming at you with another edition of Dan's Models. And Dan, I know this one.
Yep.
This is HO scale, should mention that.
Yeah, this is an HO scale brass model of the Robert Dollar number 3, which is an engine we've seen many times at Niles Canyon. Now the box actually calls it the W.A. Woodward Lumber Company number 3, which I think was its first owner.
Oh.
I think it went to Robert Dollar later. A lot of these little logging engines were traded around various lines.
Well,
But,
you can tell this is not built to prototype specifications now because it doesn't have the telltale antlers on the front.
Right, there's no antlers, and there's a few differences, like this light on the top of the cab isn't present on the engine the way it currently is.
Yeah.
And also it doesn't have this railing back here.
It would have been a lot safer to ride if it did.
Yeah. Well, this engine was originally designed as a wood burner. Okay. But as it is now, it's an oil burner. And at some point when they converted it to an oil burner, they actually they got rid of this, and they made this bunker just a little bit bigger, so it actually sticks out a little further in the back than it does here. And the light is now in the back of the bunker instead of up here. Other than that, though, and the lack of antlers, because they now have antlers on near the headlight, it's actually pretty spot on.
Yeah.
And I was amazed that anyone would even make a model of this engine in any form, because it's kind of an obscure engine, you know. Anyway, I got it, and it, unfortunately didn't run, and still doesn't. In fact, I have the motor. I think the motor might be shot itself. It's a Sagami motor, which actually, those were pretty good motors, but I think this one has seen better days. But the real problem is the gearbox is that there's nylon gears in here, and at least one of them is split, so that it no longer works at all.
That's great.
Fortunately, the engine itself, it rolls pretty good. You know, see, there's no bind in the mechanism or anything. So what I'm going to have to do is get a new gearbox and install that, which unfortunately means pulling at least the wheels off the main driver and then putting them back. So I got to make sure I try to not get them out of quarter when I do that, because otherwise it won't run so nice. And then put in a new motor. So that'll be project number 1. And then the next order of business will be to remodel the rear end so it looks like the current engine instead of what it looks like now, because I want to model it as the number 3 appears today.
See, now here's the real question, because this is the locomotive you rode on, right? With the light, and you sat on the light.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm talking about is in the original Steamfest video we did, the light Dan's talking about is somewhere up in here.
Yeah, it's off to the side.
Yeah, and he rode on the top of it, filming over the top of the locomotive. So the question I have, and the reason I brought that up, is will you model a little guy to sit on to sit on the light? I'm serious. That would be a funny thing. It would only be funny to us,
mini
but
me with a little mini camera.
I think it would be hilarious.
I wasn't planning on it, but you never know.
You could, right?
Yeah.
Put Dan up there holding the camera.
I should. This model actually it's a pretty nice model. This is made by it was imported by Oriental Limited. It's actually made by Ajin in Korea, if I'm saying that correctly. But it has backhead detail on the inside. I don't know if you can see that in this shot.
I can see some stuff in there.
Yeah, it also has sprung drivers, which is better brass steamers have that. And so it's a pretty nice model. The other thing I want to do to it is to add a working coupler on the front, because right now it just has a dummy coupler, and I'd like it to actually be functional.
Yeah, I mean the one at Niles Canyon has one. So
yeah, and they do use it.
Oh yeah,
both ways, because they don't as yet don't have a turning facility at Niles, so they have to use the engines bidirectionally.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's about where this is now. I haven't really done anything to it yet except to pull the gearbox out, but eventually I want to get this thing painted, and I'll have to make. I think I'll just do the decals with lettering, like an alphabet sheet. Fortunately, the lettering on the real engine is very simple. It just says it's silver lettering with just kind of a Gothic font, which looks very similar to the one that Microscale makes, fortunately. And I'll just have to spell that out with decals that way. And other than that, it just has number 3 on it, and it's pretty basic. So I don't think that should be too much of a problem.
Well, this is definitely one that we'll have to revisit sometime down the road when you have it more done.
Yeah, yeah. And I was even thinking maybe it might be a someday maybe have it on a podcast to do like the gearbox or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep, could do that, or painting a brass locomotive or whatever.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this edition of Dan's Models. We'll be back next time.
Yeah, see you later.